everyone. I hope you are doing very well. I am recording this on Valentine's Day, so lots of love to everybody. Seems like the perfect time to do it, and that the world needs a little more love right now. So I am sending all the love out on this day, and I hope you are celebrating and enjoying having love in your life and giving love to others, whatever that looks like in whatever form. So many blessings on this day. So I wanted to give a quick energy update. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. I think everybody's feeling this, whether they're feeling pulled in different directions. Things feel very chaotic. The energy is very chaotic. We started this in January, and it is continuing through this month. As we get closer to March and into March, this is when some really big shifts are going to happen. And so a lot of what's going on right now is that we're going through a lot of upgrade processes. There's been a huge blast of energy. This full moon that we just had in Leo a couple days ago was a doozy. I know I was in bed most of the day on Wednesday, just so sick, purging. A lot of people I've talked to have been purging, have been really, really sick, very, very tired as well. This is a lot of energy that we are integrating right now. But the really cool thing about this energy is that it is activating many parts of us that have been dormant for lifetimes. So if you're a light holder, a light anchor, a light worker, whatever you want to call yourself, if you are here to really help bring in the light at this time, this is a time where a lot of us are being upgraded, activated. Things that have been turned off on purpose are now starting to be turned on. And so you may see just an expansion of a lot of things. Maybe it's your intuition is stronger. Maybe you're actually seeing, connecting with different energies more. Just physical changes that may be happening to you. There is a lot of change occurring right now, and it's extremely rapid. And as we continue through this year, the energies are only going to pick up even more, especially when these outer planets, starting in March and April and through the year, are starting to change signs. We're moving from a lot of water and earth energy into fire and air energy. So that acceleration process is only going to get amplified as we start to move through the rest of the year. So this is extremely important to understand, because it is extra important that you have practices in place. And because this is a chaotic energy year, and it is a 9-year numerology wise for the collective, we're in a 9-year. This is a year about turning inward. The big theme of the 9-year, if you look at tarot, is the Hermit. So if you want a representation of the 9-year, it's the Hermit. It is about retreating inward. It is about cultivating your own light. It is about cultivating your own power. It is about cultivating your own tuition. It's also about endings. And so we are seeing that on a global stage, that there is a cycle that has come to a close, and that the systems that were built around that cycle are starting to crumble around. And there's a dismantling going on of those systems. And that is very much on display, especially in the United States. Kind of all eyes are on the United States right now as these systems start to get dismantled. And so anytime that we are familiar with something, right, something is very comfortable. And as humans, we do not like change. We generally are not initiators of change. There's only a small percentage of people that actually move towards change and are constantly looking at evolution and evolving and implementing and activating change within their own lives. Very few people do that. Very, very few humans do that. Most humans wait until change actually happens to them. And then it's a forced change, which is very uncomfortable when you're forced into a change. But that is what is happening collectively, because the energy that we have chosen as a collective is to go down a route that is forcing change upon us. And so that is causing a lot of chaos. So it's extremely important right now that we step back, We turn off the noise that's going on in the exterior world, and we come home to ourselves. We come inward. We look within for our own guidance and our own intuition. This is really important right now because there is an amplification of things happening that are causing even more discord and more splitting. I had just done a reel this week on Instagram where I was talking about the fact that when I would do energy work in person, it would take me 30 minutes before I could get a person on the table. And the reason being is because we have 4 different bodies that we work with when we do energy work. We have our physical body itself, and it's always the first thing that shows up in the room. So when I was working with people, people would come in, the physical body would show up immediately. Then we have the mental body, which is our mind, and it is constantly on and looking for negative things, right? So we're always in this space of the negative mind in overdrive. And the positive mind's trying to always offset the negative mind by trying to recall situations that kept them safe. But the key is about being in the neutral mind, because that's really where we want to be, is in the neutral mind. The neutral mind keeps us in a place of stability. It keeps us in a place of being able to look at things objectively. So the mental mind would show up next. People would start talking. And then not too long after, I'd start to see the emotional body show up. And a lot of that's because I was actually already working energetically on them, and that emotional body would start to release, and they would start crying, or they'd start having emotional release happening, and they'd always apologize. I'm so sorry I'm crying. I don't know why I'm crying. Your body's trying to release whatever you're holding on to. That's why. And then the last thing that would show up, usually right before I got on the table, or even maybe not until I got them on the table, was the spiritual body. And the whole thing about energy work is that it's about balancing out those 4 bodies. It's about bringing them back into wholeness, into oneness. And so when people would get out of that session, they would be in a euphoric state, because they would actually, for many times, feel for the first time or have a remembrance of what it felt like to be whole, to be sovereign, to be in their personal power, to understand what it was like, to how they're really supposed to be operating every single day. But our system and our world is designed to conquer and to fragment us. And it is designed to divide us. It is designed to push through and to separate us, whether that's through fear or through tactics to cause discord and have us question things and all of that stuff that is very much designed to keep us separated. And they know when they keep us separate from ourselves, then that also keeps us separate from other people. Because if we're not in tune with ourselves, if we're not whole within ourselves, if we're not confident within ourselves, if we don't understand the power and the gifts that we already have within us, if we forget that, then we do not know how to connect with other people. And so again, this 9-year is about coming back in to create that environment for yourself where the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual body can all merge together. And that takes a lot of practice and a lot of skill and a lot of quiet space in order to do that. And when we're getting pinged all the time, or we have these little devices that are constantly keeping us attached and engaged and distracted all the time, it is more challenging for us to actually find that time and that space to come back and be whole and be in ourselves. But that is what this year is actually calling us to do. This is the year to come back and to understand your power. And so the energies that are coming in are actually assisting us. These energies that are coming in are off-planet energies, and they are assisting us in activating these parts of ourselves that we have forgotten. It is coming in to say, do you remember who you are? Do you remember where you're from? Do you remember the gifts and the lifetimes that you have lived before? Because those are the things that when you understand that, when you remember that, when you have those skills already in the toolbox, you are able to navigate through what is going on here a lot easier, a lot more with ease. And so this is the energy that we are in right now. I am only expecting that we are going to receive more energies from exterior sources that are going to start to activate us. And all of the things that are going on too within the political sphere, right? All of the things that are happening within the political sphere are also triggers for us to awaken. They are triggers for us to have this activation. Remember, we have just crossed into a new cycle. We've been in the Piscean age for thousands of years now. Now we have moved into the Aquarian era. Very, very, very different energies. The Piscean era was all about this top-down kind of information, filtering through. You have to move into a certain kind of path and way. The Aquarian era is all about freedom. It's all about radicalization. It is all about shaking down the status quo. It is all about re-looking at everything, tearing it down and rebuilding it in a way that's going to work for the whole. Aquarian energy is about the community. It is about doing what's right for and helping those others out. It is about coming together. And so a lot of what I am seeing happening is this decentralization from a big kind of centralized source into more community focused support and more community focused emphasis of where we're moving as a collective. We are moving in from this bigger thing into these smaller communities. And, when we talk about it from quote a spiritual side of things, right? We talk about finding your soul family and coming together with your soul family and communing with them. So you find like people that have an understanding of who you are and where you're coming from. I see that in some level, right? But I'm seeing that the playing field is being leveled out in the sense that the soul family is the community that you reside in. You are there as an anchor in many ways in order to bring that light into that community. And so for a lot of us who've come in here at this time, because we've all chosen to be here at this time, and we all have chosen to have different experiences and different lessons at this time. But for some of you, you guys are actually here to help bring this forward. You are here to have a leadership role in this new dynamic, in this new earth, in this new way of being and living, because you have the expertise and the many, many lifetimes under your belt of skills to be able to come in and help people at this time, to help them activate, to help them live a different way. And the Aquarian era is about bringing innovation to the forefront. And each person has to be the innovator now. It's no longer looking outside of yourself to other systems for the solutions. It is looking inward and looking at that community level in order to find the solutions to the problems that we have in our society. You are the solution. You are the one who holds the solutions. You are the one who holds the answers. And the Aquarian mind is very much about being at the forefront, looking at different ways to approach a situation and finding solutions to that situation, and being a disruptor in many cases, because it takes disruptor energy in a lot of ways in order for us to change. Again, we don't like to change as humans. We like to stay very complacent. We have amnesia very bad. We forget very easily what has happened before. We forget history. We forget the repeating of these cycles that happen over and over and over again. And so it is up to each of us during this era to bring this change forward, to create a new way to approach things that are going to work for the whole, that are going to work for the community, that are going to work for the betterment of society. That is the energy that we are in. And we also have to remember too that we are all in a play. I mean, I look at it from this vantage point of I have a theater background, so I look at this whole thing as a big play, and we're each playing our roles. We all play roles within our lives. We all play characters within our lives. And this whole thing is this whole play. Everybody's playing their roles very, very well. And if you look at it from that vantage point, yes, there are people that are obviously doing things with malintent, not for out of love, not out of all of these things. But if you step back and kind of look at it just a movie or a play. We always have, in some scenarios, we always have the bad guy or the villain, right? And we always have the heroes and the good people and all this stuff, right? We play these roles out. That is a reason why art imitates life, because it's very much on display. And so if you look at it from that vantage point, which I do, I try and look at it from that vantage point, it really becomes comical. If you step back and look at it just from that lens, it's very funny what we do. If we just step back and look at our behavior and look at how things are working out and looking at all the things that are playing out right now in the world, it's very comical. And in some ways, that's kind of how we need to approach this, is to be very lighthearted, to be very playful, to just have fun and keep that childlike spirit, because that childlike spirit is not something that you can break. It is something that's infectious. And laughter and humor and looking at it from a playful lens is actually great, because it counteracts the things that are trying to keep you in fear, that are trying to keep you pulled down, that are trying to snuff out your light and take away your power. So that is one thing to keep in mind as you're navigating through these times. And it's not to say don't be aware of what's going on. Of course, be aware of what's going on. It's not to say don't stand up for injustice, because that you need to stand up, especially when it comes to other people being harmed. You need to be standing up in these things, right? But if you look at it from that vantage point, it will help you navigate through these big changes that we are going through, because it is unnerving, it is uncomfortable, it is coming extremely fast, and it's designed that way. It's designed to keep you disoriented. It's designed to keep you afraid. It's designed to try and take your power away. All of those things are very much designed to do that. And so staying at the 50,000-foot view and looking at it from that, everything's a play, everyone's on the stage, everyone's playing their roles, is extremely important. I will also reiterate about the Aquarian era. Okay, we just had Pluto move into Aquarius in November, and that has started a cycle of a lot of different things happening. But again, as I said, sometimes we have to have things so in our face in order for us to awaken and understand and look at things in a different way. And the leaders that are in place right now are very much representative, and they're playing their roles extremely well. They are very much representative of this disruptor energy. And it's also very much representative of everything that we're moving away from. We're not moving to it. These are old paradigm structures and old thought patterns that we're actually moving away from. It may not seem that way, but it actually is, because the evolution of humanity it's out of the gate. It's already left the gate. There's no stopping the train now. And so the people that are clinging to things, clinging to these ideas, it's going to be much more difficult for them. Much, much more difficult for them, because they're holding on to an old idea structure that is no longer relevant as we move into the Aquarian age. And so we have this amplification of things like patriarchy, of control, of manipulation, of power imbalances, of money imbalances, of inequality. All of those things are amplified right now. And the reason they're amplified right now is because the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was during the late 1700s. This is the American Revolution time. This is the French Revolution. This is the Industrial Revolution. We have a lot of energies that are back, that are getting repeated in history. And history always repeats itself. It always repeats itself. Now, there may be a little bit of a different twist on it, and we're in a different evolution cycle, of course. And so how that looks is going to look a little different than what it did before. But if we look just at the French Revolution and what happened when Pluto was in Aquarius during that time, it was an imbalance of power. It was an imbalance of money. It was a system that was designed to keep people poor, enslaved, and hungry and starving. And it became so obvious that the monarchy, there was only a few people who held the power and the money, and everybody else did not. And so there was an uprising that happened during that period, and the people took their power back and they demanded a democracy at that point. Now, maybe democracy has started to end in the world. Maybe we're at a different phase where we have to invent something new that works. I don't know what that's going to look like, right? But we are in that same type of energy. We are in that same type of energy. And everybody's playing the game. And you're either in the game or you're not in the game, or you get control over the game. So I had a dream a few months ago that was very profound, where I was somehow I was in Russia and Putin came into my dream. And I started to get this feeling of wanting to do energy at Putin, meaning like destructive energy. And I remember seeing Alexei Navalny come in to the picture. And Alexei Navalny, if you don't know, was the person who was trying to get Putin out of power for many years. And Putin had him poisoned, tried to kill him 3 or 4 times. They finally arrested him. They had him imprisoned for quite some time, and then they finally unalived him. And he came in and he said, no, Christina, don't do that. Don't do that type of energy towards him. He said, it's all a game. He goes, this whole thing is a game. Just play the game. And this guy was very playful. He was always laughing. He was always smiling. He understood the game. He understood the assignment. He understood what his role was in the collective consciousness at the time and what he was here to do. And so he approached it from a very playful standpoint. And it's interesting to see the symbolism coming up now that we are seeing about the game. And if you watched, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I watched the outtakes from the halftime show. And I know there's a lot of controversy around Kendrick Lamar and he being the halftime performer. But I tell you, if you go back and look at any of the analysis of it, the guy is a brilliant artist, whether you understand it or not. And if you understood the symbolism or not of that performance, it was all about the game. He had a game controller. And it was all these, not nuanced. It was definitely not nuanced. Maybe some people felt it was nuanced, but it was definitely not nuanced to me. When I watched it, I was like, oh, I got it the very first time. I understood the whole thing the very first time. Now it's interesting to dig into some of the lyrics and some of the analysis because it gave me a lot more context to actually what he was saying. But he was referring to the multiple layers of society and the manipulation of the game that has happened for so long. And the definite suppression of the individual, the fragmentation of the individual, the suppression of the individual, and the manipulation by only a small group of people. And this is so apropos. Like, this was perfect, the perfect approach, the perfect timing, the perfect everything. And I do believe that these type of events that happen, these performances, art is a conscious, creative form. It is a form of true consciousness. And it comes out in art form. And this is why art is so important. This is why music and art and expression is so important. When we tap into our creativity, we are bringing in this beautiful higher dimensional flow of energy into the world. And we have people who are these disruptors in these industries who are here to help us awaken. And I believe there was a consciousness shift that happened after that performance, whether people got it or not. There was a consciousness shift that happened due to what he did. And these are the type of people that are the disruptors. These are the Aquarian people who are here to disrupt and to help us activate. And he was an activator, whether we liked it or not. I believe he was an activator. We had another kind of award show in the United States a few weeks ago called the Grammys. Again, I mean, he won a lot of Grammys, but also there's artists like Chappell Roan, who is bringing attention to the LGBTQ plus community, and to gender fluidity, and to trans rights. All of those people are here to be the activators. They are the disruptor energies. These are the Aquarian era people. And this is what I'm saying to you. You are an activator. You are the solution. You are the one who is here to bring in new ideas that work for the whole. You are here to be an awakener. You are here to help people evolve into this life, to remember their gifts, to remember who they are, to remember why they are here at this time, and to also remember your own power. That is the big thing. And so when I come back to this whole idea around the fragmentation of our energy fields, the fragmentation that I have seen so many times over and over and over again in humans, and if I just look at people in general, right? If I just watch the news or do whatever, which I rarely watch the news, but I'm seeing a lot of these people that are in leadership positions right now, who shouldn't be in leadership positions, completely disconnected. They are so disconnected from themselves, 100% disconnected, and they're having temper tantrums, and they're being so unprofessional and so gross. And I look at him and I say, okay, I can see in the energy field that you're completely not connected. You're not connected to your heart. You're not connected to your emotions are out of control. Your negative mind is overdoing. Just the whole energy field is off completely. And so I think that the big question that we all need to ask ourselves at this point in time is not how do we think, what collective thought forms do we attach to, how do we create these things? None of that. Because you at your soul level are a pure being. You are a pure energy being of love and light. That is it. But again, we've become so fragmented, and the system has been designed to infiltrate us in a way that fragments us, that we lose our sight of what's really important. And a lot of times you get asked your opinion about what you think about things. But I'm going to ask you a question to consider, and I'd love to hear what this is in the comments. So the one question for you is, how do you want to feel? So ask yourself, how do I want to feel? Not how do I want to think? What do I think? What is my opinion? Scrap that. How do you want to feel? And I think that's going to actually give you a really clear answer as to how you want to live your life. What kind of life do you want? What kind of community do you want to live in? What kind of world do you want to see? What kind of reality do you want to be in? I'm pretty sure when you signed up for this, you weren't like, oh, I want to come down here and experience what's going on. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. Maybe you're like, I want as much chaos and discord and disruption and everything possible. And I want to see how I'm going to navigate through that. I'm going to see how I can be resilient through that. Maybe that was part of your mission. But I think most of us come down here because, one, we get to be in a body, which is highly unusual. Not too many other places in the universe you get to do that. And two, you get to have these oppositions, right? You get to experience emotions. You get to experience embodiment. You get to experience physical relationships. You get to experience polarity. You get to experience all of these different things as a human being. So perhaps you do want that. But the big question I want you to ask yourself is, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? What do I want to feel? How do I want my experience to feel? Do I want an experience that's full of hate and feeling icky all the time and feeling unsure all the time? Or do you want an experience that's love-filled, that's peaceful, that's calm, that's connected? Really ask yourself that. And let me know in the comments what you want to feel. And then start to shape your life around that. Shape your experience around that. Simplify your life. Turn off the phone. Go inward at this time and really look at, how do you want to feel? And sit with that for a while. And I think that will give us all a lot more clarity into what kind of world we want to live in. So that's what I'm challenging you to do at this time. The other thing I wanted to do during this particular piece is I wanted to share something that my dear friend Shannon put together. And so I've been on the sidelines talking to her and watching her create this beautiful thing. And I call her Mother Earth because she's very much so connected to the energy of Mother Earth. And she's always out in nature, and she's always using her creativity, her artistry, to bring through all of this beautiful wisdom and this beautiful energy into the world. That creative energy is so important. So this is also just kind of an inspiration, I think, to say, go paint, go walk in nature, go create something. But this is such a beautiful affirmation deck that she's put together called, I hope I can get it in the picture, Your True Nature. And so it is this 44 nature-inspired affirmations to ignite your soul. And they're ready for order now if you want to order them. But there's all these beautiful things. And this is her actual artwork. She's a beautiful painter, watercolor, and she's done this amazing affirmation deck that's full of all these beautiful colors and affirmations. So I thought I'd pull a card for us as the collective, just to see what we need right now. And hopefully, we have something that, I know anything that Shannon creates is going to help us at this time. So let me pull this card for us. What does the collective need at this time? What is the energy that we all need to be inspired by right now? I'm getting this card right here. Let's see what we've got. So I'm going to see if I can get those up here. Camera can read it. I've got a filter on here, so it says, I am like the sun, illuminating my own path and inspiring others to express their authentic brilliance. I love this because this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's about stepping into your own authority and your own voice. So I'm going to read the affirmation. Just as a fire requires oxygen to burn brightly, my inspiration ignites when I connect deeply with the essence of life. The warmth of the sun reminds me to shine my unique light into the world. In this radiance, I find connection, creativity, peace, and joy. Nature's rhythms, the steady rise and fall of the sun, the rustling of the leaves, or the song of the birds ignite my soul, reminding me that inspiration is a constant force, always shining around me and within, waiting to fuel me. As I breathe life into each moment, I welcome more beauty and meaning, feeling fully alive. So the big question to ask yourself, and I think this kind of ties into how you want to feel, is what ignites your inner fire and inspires your creativity? How can you nurture that spark today? Reflect on the ways nature fuels your inspiration, what steps you can take to invite more of this creative energy into your life. I am like the sun, illuminating my own path, inspiring others to express their authentic brilliance. Thank you, Shannon. Beautiful. So what can you do to help inspire others and ignite your own path and stepping into that? I feel a lot of us are here. I know I am here to be an igniter, to be a spark, to be a person who you may not like, but I'm here to help awaken something within you. I'm here to illuminate things that are going on in the world that I'm feeling that are maybe out of balance, maybe need re-examination, maybe need to be looked at in a different way. And you are here on your unique path and you have these beautiful, unique gifts. And you are 100% your own unique individual, your soul. And within that soul, you've had many experiences that you are bringing into this experience, this human experience. And you can help other people on their path as well. You are a teacher. They are a teacher to you. Never forget that. Never forget that you are a teacher to other people, always. And kindness and love is going to go so much further than discord and fear. And so remember to always stay in your heart, especially right now. Stay in a place of love, stay in a place of kindness, help out where you can help out, speak out when you see injustice in the world. We are all one. We are all connected. We are all connected at the soul level, we're all connected at the energetic level. And when we remember that, and remember that the meat suits that we choose are just the meat suits, we've chosen that to have a specific experience. And it does not mean that we are different or better or anything else. We are also 100% masculine and 100% feminine energy. And our role here is to balance those two things out. Balancing those two things together. Yes, you may have chosen a certain experience, but a lot of the people that are coming in and are breaking through that and are not looking to conform to one or the other are doing that because they are our teachers to remind us right now that we are both. We are both of these things. And we have been both of these energies in other lifetimes as well, because we choose different experiences every single time. And so our job as a human is to, one, to remember that, and two, to balance these two things out. We've had an overabundance of this patriarchal masculine energy on the planet. And many women are over masculinized. I have been for many, many years trying to fit into these structures. Many of us have forgotten the feminine. So we all need to come back into harmony. We all need to come back into balance. And it takes each of us individually doing the work in order for us to get there. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Spread the love, spread the joy, be playful, have fun. But top of mind, please take care of yourselves. And please, please, please love yourself and love each other. Take care.